to those of you that's joining me via television. GBN's Channel 7, Channel 11, and Channel 20. If you're in cable, and those of you that's chiming in via the World Wide Web at www.gbn.gd, via our Facebook page or YouTube channel. Good morning to you. I'm Joseph Cadore. It's a pleasure being here with you as usual. I'm here to keep you company just for the next hour. That's until 12. Remind you at the top of the hour, that's at 12. It's going to be the midday edition, a production of News and Current Affairs, the department. My first guest this morning, and we're having a very interesting conversation. It's not normally. There's some conversations that are referred to as sexy. You hear it and you get all hyped about it. And the others you hear it and you start going, okay. So this morning we'll be talking to Dr. Sonia Johnson, and she's no stranger to the GBN, no stranger to anybody that is out there. And this morning we'll be focusing on the Indo Heritage, the Indo Grenadian Heritage Foundation. What are they? What is their mandates? Exactly what is their intent, plans, and focus? And what exactly are they commissioned to do on a daily basis? Good morning to you, Doc. How are you?
Morning. I'm fine.
It has been.
How are you?
I am wonderful as always. You've managed. You've done well to keep. You've kept away from me for quite a while. But
I see. I'm in your noose at the moment.
Oh yes, and I've reined you in quite tightly. And keeping you here for at least the next half an hour. Good morning to you. It is always
wonderful.
It's always a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you. And good morning to all the listeners as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for accepting. Thank you for being here. The Indo Grenadian Heritage Foundation. Let's establish, for the premise of this conversation, who exactly does that organization represent? And let's take, first of all, a historical perspective.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. So the Indo-Grenadian Heritage Foundation was sort of commissioned and incorporated in 2008. And we represent the Indo-Grenadian members of Grenada, if you wish. And we want to make it more a mandate of education and a cultural level. Okay, it has to be understood that this is about recognizing the contributions of the previous persons who came to Grenada. We'll talk about that in a second, and respecting them and the expectations and the incorporation of all the good things that they brought to Grenada. This is not about any sorts of divisions or anything like that. This is about recognizing them, respecting them, and lifting everybody up together, because we are Grenadians and we are all mixed. I'm sure you have a little Indian in you.
Yeah, well, I love curry more than anything else.
And I'm sure you love mangoes as well.
Janelle actually loves mangoes.
All these things came from mangoes came from India. So to go the history, in May 1st, 1857, that's when the Maidstone came to Grenada, and it landed at Irwin's Bay in St. Patrick's. Irwin's Bay is very close to La Fortune, where Mrs. Holas has her lovely historical home, and there's a road opposite that. And so we got that road named, I think it was in 2010, we got the road named Maidstone Road, and we recognized Irwin's Bay there. So after slavery was abolished, there was this indentureship program to bring Indian workers to Grenada. They worked for a time, and they had a hard time really with all the weather and everything else, the diseases, and so a lot died, and a lot died on the ship to Grenada. In all, about 3,000 eventually ended up in Grenada, and then a lot of them stayed. They took their money and they stayed. So thus the start of that introduction to persons from India coming to Grenada, and the Caribbean as well as a whole. It was a whole indentureship for all of the islands. So that's when they came to Grenada from after 1857, and we've recognized that area at the moment. And so they incorporated, and we are not a big country like, say, Guyana and Trinidad. So they weren't able to go to certain areas and just be secluded. You do have certain areas, Red Mud and Samaritan and so, where the majorities went, but you still have that sort of integration in there. And that's how it grew, that's how it grew. But a lot of the times you had the owners who sort of didn't want to recognize their names, the long names, if you wish. So they shortened them, or sometimes they gave them their plantation owner names. So you lost a lot of the culture. They lost a lot of their religion and heritage. They became Presbyterians. A lot of the Samaritan Church, the Presbyterian Church in Samaritan, was the sort of cornerstone for them. And they grew and they grew and they multiplied. And we had a lot of things coming up, the spices, the mangoes you like, and so on. So it's all about the contribution that these people came with their struggles, with their difficulties, yet still they overcame all that. They loved our country, they made it their own, and we are Grenadians. So it's about, the foundation is wanting to raise awareness of how it all started, what happened, the contributions that they all made, and how they helped Grenada to become the vibrant business society that we have, because that a lot of the businesses that there are owned by a lot of the Indian descendants.
Right. And it's interesting that you say that, though, because, very often if you were to describe, let's say, the Caribbean, you look at the Caribbean, and you may probably refer to, and you look at, mix. It's a real melting pot as it is.
It is.
But you take Grenada and you have a historical conversation. Very often you would hear the conversation leads towards our ancestral past from Africa. You will hear that strong conversation. You hear conversation regarding the colonial period, the French, the Spanish. You look at our architectural remains and you see that. But you have to, very often, at one glance, you don't hear the conversation, or you don't see things that points directly to that East Indian representation.
Yes.
Right? You don't, and how they got here. And so you hear people say, slavery in Africa, and this, we want this, we want this, we want that. But I often say, sometimes when we talk about slavery, Doc, I wonder if we're honest about slavery, because we forget that the Chinese were enslaved, as you said, the Indians were enslaved, the East Indians were enslaved, the actual original Indians, Red Indians that were in the Caribbean, they were also enslaved. But not very often do you hear that conversation being talked about, even here in Grenada.
Right. And we're hoping that we can get that education out so that can change. And in the contribution that the Indians gave can be respected and incorporated. And one of the things we did over the years, I'll list up some things for you that we've done over the years, but one of the nice things we've done is we have good connections with the Indian High Commission in Trinidad, and they sponsored a dancer, a teacher. And she met with the dance group that's upstairs, the museum, and they did classes together. So now they have some Indian moves. So when you do a cultural dance, or we have a national program and you have a cultural presentation, it won't only be African that's presented, it will be African and Indian presentation, because these two cultures are the main cultures that contribute to our society. And it's a lovely mix, really. So these are the things we want people to understand and appreciate. We're having a movie on the 23rd. I sent you it on the WhatsApp. If you could share, would be nice. You have to register first, because there's only 50 with the COVID protocols allowed. So these are the things we want to do. Last Sunday, there was a nice football and at Malmount and cricket at Malmount playing field, and they had some Indian food, and so it's a start. We're trying to get into all these things and let people enjoy it and know, wear the lovely clothes, eat the good food, know the history, enjoy all these things. It's not about segregation or anything like that. It must be understood very clearly that it's all about incorporation and respect and admiration and bigging up everybody who contributed to make Grenada the great country we are.
So let's
tell you about things that happen.
Right. So give us some of those, because persons are probably listening to you and they're probably asking themselves the question, what is she talking about? What sort of influence and impact? So give us some of those specifics that you hinted to.
The impact. We try to celebrate every year on the May 1st, okay? Because and the first celebration of Indian Arrival Day was the 100th anniversary. That was in 1957. Mm-hmm. Okay? And then in 2007, we did the 105th anniversary, and that's when we really got together. 2008, the incorporation of the Indo-Grenadian Heritage Foundation happened. And in 2009, reference was made to Cabinet to respect that date and make it a day to be recognized as Indian Arrival Day. It's already a holiday, so that was done. I'll tell you when. And in 20, we had the recognition of arrival. We had a plaque erected in Irwins Bay. There's a home right on that Maidstone Road. There's a home there, and we have a lovely plaque that's erected as a commemorative plaque to commemorate that first ship that arrived in Grenada. And that was in 2013. We did a unveiling of a Mahatma Gandhi bust at McDonald College. And so that's on the grounds there. And that whole area was a lot of the area where you had a lot of the history for the Indians coming into Grenada. So that area is one of the things. In 2015, we had a lovely presentation by John Angus Martin at the National Museum. And he talked about East Indian migration to Grenada. And so every year we try to do something. And in 2017, Dr. Beverly Steele did a public lecture at Marisho House, Departing but Not Leaving, Celebrating India in the Diaspora. So we talked and we tried to do all that. And between 2018 and 2019, the national holiday was approved by Cabinet for May 1st to be both Labor Day and Indian Arrival Day.
Okay.
So we've done quite a lot over the time in simple ways. And so we're looking for people to get involved and join us as an organization and continue to share, so we can do movies, we can do, fairs and just wonderful things, get the dance going and let people know the joy of enjoying. This year, well, COVID, we didn't do anything. 2020, that was difficult. So this year we had a little flag raising ceremony at the gardens in remembrance of our collective resilience. We have hope. That was our motto. It was 164 years this year. So in remembrance of our collective resilience, we have hope. And we did a lovely little program there. And we're hoping to do something every year. This year we did as well. We always have a lunch at Belmont Estate where you get some good Indian food. So I know you like that. So make sure you put it in your agenda for next year. And so we continue to try and incorporate a lot of Indian aspects of life. And share it, because we want people to understand it. We want people to know it's part of us. And the great thing about us is that we are Grenadians. You never hear people going the opposite way or whatever one. We are Grenadians.
Right.
So it's a wonderful base to work from and let people come in to understand where the history is and why and how. And then get involved. We want people to get involved.
As a foundation, what sort of feedback have you received from the general public?
It's been good. It's been good. We just need to have a bigger organization, I think, and be able to be seen more, because it's a few of us, and we try to do something in the month of May, and we do a few things in the month of May. But the idea now is to take it to another level. So we want to have more people involved, so we could do things all year round. So it will be in your face a little more, and you will be able to recognize and appreciate and be thankful, etc.
Let me ask you now, Doc, as a person of Indian heritage, and you Grenadian, let's take a historical look as to the experience, what sort of life have persons on the island they've enjoyed. I mean, I know you and we were having a conversation, and I was sharing some experiences with you. And the truth is that while Grenada, we're not necessarily known for being a country where racism, quote unquote, is a prevalent and dominant conversation. The reality, the truth is, though, I mean, and maybe I know from my own experiences, where somehow we've always seemed to be at variance with persons of Indian heritage.
Yes, that was growing up. I think they would use the bad word and call you that, and I think it came from a lot of ignorance, really, and people not really knowing what where these people come from and how much they contributed to the overall of Grenada and Grenada's growth. So it was like a disregard, push that down and get rid of that, or push that to the side. You're not as good as us, or whatever. And they had that bad word that they used, and they called you that. And I think everybody of Indian heritage went through that at some point. But the good news is that has sort of gone away. I mean, I think with education and diversity and everybody's moving on to a higher level of understanding things, it's sort of gone away. I don't hear people calling other people that, or the young children don't tease you like that anymore. So it's a wonderful reality to face, that this could be something that is for the past.
Right.
And for the future now, we really want to make sure that everybody understands the education and the history. And once people understand the history, and that these people, our ancestors, struggled hard to really work the land and saved the little bit they had, and then they bought land, and then they farmed it, and they did a lot with the cocoa and the nutmeg for Grenada, which are the mainstays in many ways now. That goes back to the Indian indentured workers.
And their struggle, Doc, is just as real as any other ethnic grouping.
Exactly, because they died on the road, the seas over to here, and they were locked off from their family. A lot of them didn't go back. It was too far, and they just didn't go back. They stayed here and made a life here and called it their home. So their struggles were real, just like everybody else's.
Let's talk about some of the everyday things that we see. Let's talk about the culinary aspects of it. I think that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. And I think that may probably help people to be able to appreciate. And I think if you ask me, the one that comes to mind most the top of my mind is roti. I think there's not a Grenadian who can honestly say they have not, or they will not, or they've never enjoyed a good roti.
A good roti, exactly. Now, I don't know if a roti actually came from India, so that's an interesting one. But the curry, I think curry is a heritage from the herbs and the spices that came together from that country. One time, I think on GIS, one time we had Debnath and his deceased wife, bless her, do a cooking program, and that was quite popular on GIS. And there's a lot of foods that but the Indians, a lot of their foods are vegetarian, A lot of their foods are vegetarian, so they don't eat too much meat, but they're delicious. I mean, all the the pylori and all the other little ones that they have.
Right.
That the bus-up shot is famous, and then you curry a lot of the vegetables, the fruits, they curry all the different side dishes.
Right.
And people love that. We got the mango, as I said before, mango come from there, and all the spices come from there, and a lot of the items that we eat are originating from that era and that time.
What do you think we can learn from and adapt? Because you just hinted to the fact that in terms of the culinary aspects, they eat less meat. And certainly as a medical practitioner, you can, of course, you're able to talk about the health benefits. And it's interesting you said it. I had a very unique experience a couple of years ago when I went to Trinidad. I was living with an East Indian family. So I woke up in the morning and they said, okay, Joe, breakfast. And of course, coming from Grenada, when you hear breakfast, you start getting all excited. You want to see the bread, the this, the that, the meat, and the other that. And she said, we're going to do beans, body beans, for breakfast. And I'm like, seriously, beans for breakfast? I'm like, are you serious? But it was interesting. It changed my whole perception and perspective of what the first meal of the day is supposed to be like. Because it was just pure beans with all of the spices. And I was totally blown away that beans in the morning, body beans, curried body beans, could taste that good. And it would make something, I think they call sada roti that they had. And I was just shocked. Now this thing could actually taste that good, and I could actually have a breakfast that did not include the cheese and the fish cake and the eggs and the sausages, but health-wise, it continues to be the better option, and we see it in terms of the lifestyle diseases that what's trending among certain ethnic groups and what's absent in others.
Yes, and it's. I mean, you said it all right there. There's that great variation. One of the things we were trying recently was to get a lot of the seeds from the old time ones. There's a plant called gringy, and there's some other beans that we're trying to get to establish, and hopefully we could share it with people as we go along. These are some of the beans from long ago that they used to use. But as you see, they didn't have, they ate smartly. They ate what they had, and they ate from the land. And these are the things that they maybe help them to live in the long and healthy way that they did. A lot of them live long.
And I sometimes say, I wish that maybe that if we can learn some more from each other, there's the variances in different ethnic, how we live, that you realize that these individuals, they eat simple. And yet they seem to be able to churn out a better life for themselves and their ancestors economically. Because while we looking to have, we traditionally want to have 3 and 4 items on our plates. They keep it simple. It's much healthier, and economically, it turns out to be the better option.
Yeah, there you go. So it's a lot to learn. You see, there's a big educational void there that a lot of people could learn from and incorporate. And we would love to know that Indian meals and Indian menus are being incorporated into everybody's homes and appreciating the wealth from the land in so many ways, So we really want people to embrace this part of Grenada's history and learn about it. It's really an educational and from a cultural point of view as well, and understand where it all came from, embrace it, and enjoy it. Enjoy it. There's lots of nice food. There's lots of good fruits. There's lots of spices. There's some nice clothes. All the girls can wear some nice Indian outfits, and look really lovely, because you have some gorgeous women in Grenada.
Fashion.
I'm sure you know that.
I know very little things in my walk of life. I know very little things. You're trying to set me up,
So the point is that we must embrace everything, and so this is one of the things that the Indo-Grenadian Heritage Foundation is really out to hope and get more people involved in the organization, get people happy to learn about these things and share it, and just grow and learn with it, and make it part of our everyday culture. When you have a national dance, you have the Indian dance included, and so we will honor the ancestors who fought so hard to make Grenada their home.
Honoring our ancestors and being able to identify more with that which truly makes us Grenadian.
Exactly.
Because our Grenadianism, as you would say, is not just about our African roots, but is our Indian roots, that diversity that makes us who we are, not just Grenadian, but makes us a Caribbean people that we so openly boast of being true West Indians. That's what makes us
exactly.
unique. That's what makes us unique.
Grenada is a lovely potpourri, and
it's
nice to keep that going, and no segregations, no differentiations. We just grow as Grenadians and enjoy all the different cultures involved.
Growing as Grenadians and enjoying the cultural diversity. Doc, we are out of time, but certainly the intention, we started the conversation, and I know between you and I, it's a conversation that we are going to continue. I was speaking there with Dr. Sonia Johnson, representing the Indo-Grenadian Heritage Foundation, and giving us just a little bit of a teaser, the insight, and giving us allowing us to appreciate the diversity that exists among us as Grenadians. And the Indo-Grenadian Heritage Foundation, exactly what does it represent? We are recognizing that while as Grenadians we boast of our African ancestral heritage, realizing that so too, while it is rich in African descent, Indians, of course, they too played an integral role and continue and have played an integral role. And if you don't believe me, just take a walk around Grenada and you be your own judge. I wouldn't ask you more. Thanks a lot, Doc. All the best to you.
Thank you for hosting, and thank you so much for having us. And I'm so sure we'll meet up again and have another session of this sometime in the year, later on in the year.
Definitely.
Incorporate a couple of my colleagues so you can have a few girls talking to.
Ooh,
so that would be nice.
I like that part. I hope that part of the. I hope
Thank you, listeners.
You take care, Doc.
The listeners.
Take care. All the best to you. 29 minutes onto the hour of 12 o'clock. We'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back right here on the Mid-Morning Buzz.
COVID-19 spreads from person to person through the droplets that are produced when someone coughs or sneezes, which makes it easy to spread between people in close contact. Now let's get prepared to stay healthy. To reduce your chance of catching or spreading COVID-19, practice these simple everyday preventative measures. Droplets can also land on surfaces, so ensure that you wash your hands frequently for a minimum of 20 seconds or sing the happy birthday song twice. Avoid touching your face, especially your eyes, nose, and mouth. If soap and water are not readily available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with an alcohol content between 60 and 90%. 70% is ideal. When you cough or sneeze, cover your nose and mouth with a flexed elbow or a tissue. Dispose of the tissue immediately and then wash your hands. If you notice someone has a fever and cough or other symptoms of respiratory illness, avoid close contact when possible. Let's all do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy. Our health is our collective responsibility.
Can you spend wisely and have more savings? Yes, you can. Learn more with Money Matters on GBN Television. The Money Matters series explores 12 top ways to save money. In this series, you would learn how to save by setting up your spending money right. Save on vehicle loans, home improvement projects, your credit cards, and even on prescription drugs. Tune in every Tuesday morning at 7:15 for Money Matters, a lighthearted conversation with financial planner Tali Francis. Follow the rebroadcast on Thursdays at 6:50 p.m. and on Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Money Matters is a financial literacy public awareness program sponsored by Republic Bank Grenada.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
There's no better way to
And 105.9, we're getting ready. Again, we want to say thanks to those of you that's here and joining us on television, on the televised edition of the Mid-Morning Buzz. Moving to my next guest this morning, certainly no stranger to the GBN, no stranger to a Wednesday, no stranger to all of us. She feels, well, she is family. My good ups, as she knows. Yeah, man. Good morning to my wonderful friend from inside of GDB. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I am wonderful as always. I realize you took a particular fascination to my previous guest. Any particular reason? Anything you want to share? I'm not going to say because you know my mouth. I could sort of just go, but I wouldn't say anything. Anything you want to share?
Joseph, what happened backstage?
Okay, my apologies. Okay, what
happens in the waiting room
stays
of Zoom? Stays in the waiting room of Zoom.
My apologies for having broken protocol. I'm happy that you've openly rebuffed me on that, and I accept. I take it. I shouldn't have even mentioned it.
Good morning to listeners. Good morning to your listeners and viewers and social media users. Everybody who's locked on to Classic this morning. Very interesting interview before me. I do have to say I enjoyed it. I was very intrigued. Locked on.
And it's quite interesting. I will say it is quite interesting. I remember when we were speaking, she and I we shared some things, experiences that I had at school with persons of varied ethnic background. And it was not the best of experiences. As an adult, you look at it now and you say to yourself, boy, Joe, how did you stoop that low? You actually did those things? And it was things that was done openly. But I think as you said it, we've turned that corner and you don't have those kind of experiences anymore. It only shows that as a society that we've grown. But yet while we've grown, I think in the absence of knowledge, people still say and do things and would not gravitate towards certain things openly because they just don't know.
They just don't know. But at the same time, Joe, we can't deny that the world we live in today is a total different one from the one you grew up in and I grew up in.
Hold on, why you making such a big distinction between the world I grew up in and one you grew up in?
Meaning that some things would have been, it's a joke, you laugh it off, the things that were jokes back then, it's not so much of a joke today. The things that we would just let slide, it's taken very seriously today. So I think that also it has some grounds to what it is you're speaking about, looking at yourself then and looking at yourself now. I think you're two different people. And maybe probably two different sides of your mind and your maturity.
It shows growth. It shows maturity. And when we enter the conversation of, we know that we've injected the growth and maturity, not just as individuals, but maybe as a nation. We certainly have to. The GDB easily gets drafted into that fray because really and truly, that's the mantra. That's what you live and die for. Development, growth, maturity. Taking an individual, a business, from one economic level to an elevated one.
That's what we do. We live for that. Development through financing. And those three little words there, that's our tagline. And everything that we do, all our decisions, all our products, our services, what we speak about, what we aim to do, it all surrounds development through financing. That's the long and short of it. If you say sum up GDB in 3 words, that would be it. Development through financing. I think the interview is done, Joseph.
and it's interesting. And while it could easily be an open and shut case, the truth is we have to continue to educate persons, because a lot of times when people hear education, they see that's not for me, because they haven't yet quite come to the point of embracing the virtue and value of it. And then when they hear financing, they start thinking, I think this bank and them, and because they've been misguided for so long that they tend to shy away and not realizing, you know what? Maybe though, there is some way, something I can take advantage of from the GDB, maybe an education loan, maybe a small business loan, something. Maybe I can benefit from one of your green loans, something that allows me to change my standard of living.
Joseph, everything that you said and more are all available, and you can take advantage of the education loan. And when we're speaking about education loans, we're not speaking about necessarily university. We're also speaking about vocational and professional development. Lately, we've been hearing a lot about the CVQs and the NVQs from the National Training Agency and the different training centers. That's a possibility. It is not a university degree, but it is a certification that is recognized throughout. So that is an opportunity for you. That can be offered through, you can receive financing from our education loan for that. So that is one aspect of education. We do have the housing. I don't remember if you said housing, but that is a possibility also. You spoke about businesses, and that is also a possibility. And you were not there the last 2 weeks because I came on Thursdays, and I know you're working in the nights on Thursdays. But one of the things that Janelle and I spoke about, one of the things I introduced is the Eastern Caribbean Partial Credit Guarantee Corporation.
Okay.
It's the ECPCGC. So Janelle has gotten the hang of it. ECPCGC, Joseph. ECPCGC. Eastern Caribbean Partial Credit Guarantee Corporation.
And simply means, when simplified,
the corporation is going to guarantee a loan for you as a business person who's looking for financing for your business, but you're unable to provide security. The corporation will do that on your behalf.
That is something to smile about, isn't it?
That is something to smile about, because one of the problems that we are seeing, not just from a development bank standpoint, but also the commercial bank standpoint, when people are looking to get into businesses, one of the things that they're having a hard time with is the security. So the Eastern Caribbean Partial Guarantee Scheme. I can't even get it right. So we're just going to stick
the
with
ECPCGC.
ECGC, because it's a lot of words. So the ECPCGC, it is regional. Yes, it's all the Eastern, every country that uses the EC dollar. Right. So it is off the ECCB. Yes. And how it works is that development, commercial banks, and credit unions are like throughout the region, they're going to sign on to the corporation.
Okay.
Yes. So you would have representative in each one of the Eastern Caribbean islands. And you may have more than one in Grenada. You may have more than one. Probably you'll start hearing about it soon. So each institution you would make, if you're interested in the ECPCGC, you would make your application to them, and then they would say, okay, whether or not you've been approved, so that through your institution, the ECPCGC can provide the guarantee to your customers. So how it works is that a customer, business that is, if you are interested in applying for a loan from GDB, you can come to us. Everything should be in place. The only thing that should be missing is your security.
Right.
And that is where the ECPCGC comes in. So you come in, you apply for the loan. The officer would realize that you lack security, whether it is that you don't have enough or you don't have any, and they would take it from our institution. We would apply for security on your behalf. So as the customer, you do not directly relate to the corporation. The bank would do that on your behalf.
So that's all the back channel think
that's
that's
all
being
the
done.
back things. All you need
Right.
to do as a customer is sit and wait.
So you don't need to necessarily be hurting your head as to whom should I speak to, where they are, all of that. The bank takes care of that.
You just speak to your loans officer. You just speak to your loans officer.
Can I call you guys now?
Yes, you can. Hazel is very well. Yeah, Hazel is ready to answer your call.
Well, tell Hazel I say call me then. But that is in fact, it is in fact good, really, really, really great news, because you and I both know that young people, and I think that where we are in the economic climate that we're in, it provides a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurship. But then one of the many cries, the drawback you hear young persons would make, well, I want to, however, because there are these requirements, understandably, because commercial entities, they have to find a way to protect themselves. So I think now, and the customers, yes, and that's an important point that you make, because even at the GDB, when a customer applies for a loan, you don't just say to them, "All come," and then but you sit with them, have a conversation, because it's about
that's where business support and development comes in. We go to visit customers even after they've gotten the loan. We have field visits. We go to see them. How is it going? What you're keeping up with your records, that kind of thing. I like to call it a little bit of therapy.
Therapy.
Yes, because you don't just, again, we're about development. So it's not about giving you the loan and you can go do as you please, and whether or not you can pay doesn't matter. This is not what we do. Our aim is to ensure that you can get from point A to Z. Yes, we want you to go through not even A to B, A to Z. So one of the ways that we can do that is basically holding your hand. So if you have problems, if we notice that, all right, something is wrong here, yes, the loans officers would call, they would ask, "Hey, Joe, what's up? Joe, you're late," whether it is that you're late with your payments, whether it is that there's a problem, whether it is to just check in, whatever the case may be. This is something that happens from our institution, because it's not about leaving you by the wayside.
And it's not a case that they are minding my business.
No.
Yeah.
Well. We are minding your business.
Well, in the negative.
That's because we want your business
to succeed.
So, your business is our business.
My business is GDB's business. GDB's business is my business, because I want to develop and they want to hold my hand and get me there.
So that is what we do. That is what we do. If you let us look at children, for example, you don't just leave children to their own accord.
Right.
Yes. It is the stage of development. You look at them and you ensure that everything that they need to do is done, everything that they need to ensure that they go to school, you make sure they have it and whatnot. We kind of take on a role like that with our customers. We want you, even with our students, we call you, we send you an email.
Nice.
How's school going? Are you keeping up? Is it time for disbursement yet? That kind of thing.
Talking about school though, COVID as it is has changed the learning. I don't think necessarily changed. It hasn't changed.
Introduced a new aspect.
It has introduced more openly, because a lot of what we've been forced towards now has been there already, but not openly embraced, because we're used to the classroom chalk and board. Let's talk about how GDB can assist in this new frontier of learning, where now we won't have to worry about me traveling and go to Yorkshire, but now Yorkshire comes to me in the confines of my home.
Should it be that you do not want to go to Yorkshire, but you'd like Yorkshire to come to you? Our education loans take care of that. In actuality, we have a loan that is particularly for people who are working and studying at the same time. It's called our work-study loan. And you're right, Joseph, when you spoke about embracing the new normal, because our work-study loan, the majority of the customers that been successful with that loan are the ones that are studying online. because it is designed for that purpose. Yes, we have some people who go to physical classes in the afternoon or whatever the case may be, but most are online. A lot of the UE courses, UE certificates, and even their degrees are online. So many people are taking that step, and we are very prepared to assist you should that be the avenue you choose.
And it's interesting that the next generation would find it much more easier to adapt to that scope of learning than previous generations that got used to the in-classroom. And GDB is going to be right there to hold their hands.
Of course. And I've had people say to me, oh, I can't do online. I need a classroom. I should probably check up on them and ask them, how's that going for you?
Yeah.
Because it is different.
Right.
It is different. It is different. A lot of it, you need to be
disciplined.
It's a lot of you.
Yes.
A lot of you. You need to take the initiative to read your readings and whatnot. Somebody was telling me the other night that they have a friend who's doing her master's. So she's doing her master's and her friend is doing the same. And she said, but compared to her friend, she feels so flustered and her friend is so relaxed. And that's because they're going to two different schools. So the school she's attending, she has to go to class twice a week.
Right.
There is a teacher that teaches you online twice a week. However, her friend has a different school, a different structure. So the friend has something along the line of, okay, this course is 3 months. These are the things you need to ensure is completed within the 3-month period. So the friend is left all on her own, and she just needs to ensure that this is done within the 3 months.
Right. And each one comes with its advantages and disadvantages.
Each one comes with their disadvantages and disadvantages, but at the end of the day, you need to find out what works for you. If it is that you are the person who needs to be in a physical classroom because you're going to get distracted by the 10 tabs that are opened on Google
and the pop-ups,
then maybe it truly isn't for you. Or probably you just need to find that balance.
Finding the balance, but at the end of the day, being able to appreciate what you call it, there is the greater good that comes out of it, which is called the opportunity cost, that which I have to give up. So I may have to give up a few episodes off. I may have to give up maybe, what is it you've been forced to surrender?
I'm not going to use the word surrender here. I'm probably going to use the word cut back on and delayed gratification.
Oh, delayed gratification. That's a nice way to put it. Delayed gratification. You see?
Probably it's a situation where maybe instead of 2 episodes, I'll get 1. Maybe instead of 2 nights out, I'm going to get 1. Probably instead of having a 5-hour lunch, I'll have 2 hours.
Or maybe you could watch the episode while you're transitioning from one module to another while you break it. Maybe.
Probably. Or probably you watch it in between bathroom breaks. So you probably say, okay, 10 minutes break. Let me get 10 minutes of this episode. But the thing about it is, we laugh about this, Joe, but you need to find what works for you, and for everybody it's different,
and not just for education.
In terms of education, and not just education, but even in maybe doing your everyday doings, whatever
Correct.
that may be. So some people, if you're studying, some people it's best to do it in the early mornings. Some people it's best to do it in the late evenings or later in the night time. Probably for some people they can do 30 minutes, then they need a break. Other people can do 2 hours and then they need a break.
Right.
So you need to know as an individual what works for you, and you manage your time accordingly. Time management is quite an important factor.
Whichever side of the pendulum you're finding yourself, whichever side of the fence, GDB is there to hold your hand.
Through financing, developing you through financing your business, education, renewable energies, what else? Small businesses, contractors. Oh, so many, many, many great opportunities at our institution. I know we're out of time now. It's almost time for the news.
It's a good thing I don't have to tell you that.
I'm fully aware of that, but we can be found if you are interested in any of our products and the services. We can be found on Melville Street. We're located upstairs Shoes R Us. That's right opposite Esplanade Mall. You can send us a WhatsApp message if you prefer that option, 405-3242. Or you can send us a message on Facebook, like our Facebook page, Grenada Development Bank. Did I miss? Our telephone number is 440-2382. Lots of ways to get in touch with us.
You too you've advanced and taken your business portfolio to the next level. You're giving customers greater options as to how they can reach you. That is development.
Not just in name, Joseph. We
in actuality.
Do in actions also. So that's what we're about.
That's what they're about at the GDB. Give them a call, find out what options are available to you. They call 440-2620. Did I get the number right?
No, you got it wrong. 440-2382.
So whose number I just gave you there?
It's 1620. The
1620.
To remember 1620.
I was wondering if I was getting that. If it was a function of age, or if it was a case I just forgot altogether. Let's leave that alone. Let's leave that alone. I'm kind of worried as to what's going to come out of your mouth next. Let's leave that alone.
In a professional capacity, I'll call you later and we'll discuss that part.
Okay, my dear friend, all the best to you. Remember, folks, give the folks at GDB a call. Whatever area of development, maybe you're considering going green, maybe you want to improve, from moving from this little where you are, a business, a little idea that you have, give them a call. Education or just development on a whole. Maybe you're not even sure what is it you're looking for. Give them a call. I'm certain 100% that a light bulb is going to go off in somebody's mind, and then they'll be able to say, you know what? Let's go on a journey. We're together. We can do this. Thanks a lot, Chris. All the best. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. We do this next week all over again. The good Lord's willing. It's about 5 minutes on to the hour of 12 o'clock. Reminding you at the top of the hour, it's going to be the midday edition, a production of our news and current affairs department. And certainly you stay locked in for that. This is where I take my departure from the studio. Reminding you that tomorrow night, yes, as Chris said to you, I won't be here tomorrow morning. Jan is going to be here because you know why? Tomorrow night, Thursday night, we rock in the box, and tomorrow we're having a whole lot of fun with you. With the folks from Jonathan Francis, Tamara St. Bernard is expected to be here. The whole kit and caboodle when we rock the box on Thursday night. We do now a link up with our boy Junior George from New York. It's the way we do Thursdays right here on Classic 105.5 and 105.9 GBN Television. It's a pleasure being here with you. For those of you that's in television, I send you back to Master Control for your regular programming. For those of you that is on that's on radio, we continue our journey up until 12 for the midday edition that is waiting in the wing. So long, everybody. JC loves you. I'm out of here.